So that's a really clear example of how doing only machines does not build up the stabilizing muscles necessary to do a free weight movement. Hey everybody, I'm Nathan from Life Shift Fitness. Today I'm going to be going over, are weight machines effective for building muscle? I want you to subscribe because next week I'm making a video all about lifting belts and lifting straps, how to use them for maximum strength gain and power. And of course, how to use them to build the most muscle. Hit the thumbs up, like the video please. I'm a new creator, would love the support. Come out with new videos every single week. In the video description, there's my social link where I come out with daily tips on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. You can contact me also in the links below. So, in my years as a fitness professional, I have ran into a lot of frequently asked questions, and I'm going to be answering one of those here today. Are weight machines effective for muscle growth? So, an overview of today's concepts. Number one, we'll be going over free weight and machine basics. Number two, the rationale for using machines for hypertrophy training. Three, neural inhibition from instability. And four, I'll give you a conclusion. So, first and foremost, let's go over some free weight and machine basics. Free weights require more stabilization than machine exercises. And free weights require more overall muscle activation, not only in the primary muscles, which is the prime movers that you're using to do the exercise, but also the stabilizer muscles, the exercises that aren't directly being targeted, but still activate to stabilize the weight. So let's go over a progression of examples. So let's consider a machine chest press, where you're sitting in a seat, you're pressing the handles for a machine chest press. Now the machine is on a horizontal guide. So there's a lot of forms of press machines, but the one thing they all have in common is they only have one axis of motion, one axis, which means that no matter how hard you push up or down, the load will not shift. You can only press one direction, and that's horizontally in relation to your body. So there's three main muscles utilized in a pressing movement: the pectorals, the anterior deltoids, which is the front of your shoulder, and of course your triceps on the back of your arm. So those three muscle groups work together to press the load. And since you don't have to worry about stabilizing, 100% of your energy and effort and concentration and focus goes right into pressing that load. Now let's compare that to a barbell bench press. It's much different because when you take that barbell off the rack and go to do the exercise, the barbell not only can move up and down like the machine can, but it can also move vertically, right? So if you've ever done an incline or decline bench press, you know that getting that angle, whether it's a decline press or an incline press, it can be challenging to stabilize. But even on a flat bench press, you know, there's obviously nothing keeping that barbell from moving in a lot of directions except straight up and down. So you have muscles like your lats that have to activate to keep the barbell moving in the correct direction of motion. And let's compare that to a dumbbell chest press, which has even more freedom of movement. Because whereas the barbell, at least your two hands are going to be the same distance from each other all the way up, all the way down, no matter what, Dumbbells obviously are not linked together. So not only can you run into the problem of you run into the barbell, the dumbbells moving up or down while you're doing the chest press, but also they can move too far out or fall too far in. So you're having to stabilize the load even more. So there's pros and cons to this. You know, the advantage to using free weights is you activate more total muscle, not just the target muscle, but the stabilization muscle. And the advantage of the machine movement is you are able to move more weight because you don't have to worry about stabilizing the load. So let's talk about moving from machines to free weights. Let's say hypothetically you started off as a brand new lifter and you used only machines. Machines for legs, machines for arms, machines for chest, machines for back. So every muscle group uses machines. So it's most obvious when we compare something like a barbell back squat to a movement like a leg press. In a leg press machine where you're lying flat on your back with the load wrapped above you, where you loosen the load and you press with your legs straight up in the air with your back on stabilized on a pad, the only thing you have to do is press with all you got to get that load up using your legs. You don't have to worry about lower back stabilization. You don't have to worry about balancing the load because it can only move in one axis. And it doesn't matter. You can take one leg off and only press with one leg and the load's not going to shift because it's guided in one direction. So let's say you got used to doing the leg press. You built up some strength to where you're pressing 400 pounds on a leg press. Not that difficult. But then you said, well, I'm going to try the barbell back squat, where the barbell's on your back, you're freestanding, and you drop down for the squat. You put 400 pounds on that squat bar, never having done free weight exercise, thinking you can just do it just like the machine. You'll get a reality check really quick. And that is because none of the other muscles that stabilize a freestanding squat have ever had to work in conjunction with your legs. For example, your lower back. So when you do a squat with the barbell oriented on your shoulders and you go down and do a squat, your back's not trained to pull you back up. So I guarantee you 100%, if you got used to only doing 400 pounds on a leg press, move to a barbell back squat, put the same weight on the barbell, try to do a squat, you'd fall right over. It would not happen. So that's a really clear example of how doing only machines does not build up the stabilizing muscles necessary to do a free weight movement. But machines are highly beneficial. And one example I always like to use is it has a low barrier of entry for older adults or people with poor coordination. So if you take someone who's over 65, maybe they're 70 years old, they're just thin, frail, and they're sorely in need of some strength training. You put them on a squat bar on their back, and it's going to be bad news because their skeleton has not got enough muscle on it to do the movement safely. Or just a simple bench press might be challenging for them. So let's say they don't have the stability strength to do a barbell bench press. You put them on a chest press machine, let them build up some strength for a few months, and then move them to a bench press with just using an empty bar, let them get used to stabilizing the load, since from the previous example, we know that they're not going to have the stabilizer muscles, and it just takes a while to build up the coordination. Once they've done that, you start putting weight on the bar. So there's some people who would benefit from starting off on machines for a period of time till they build up enough strength to use their coordination for other movements. So rationale for using machines in hypertrophy training. So I use machines for a block of training. So a block of training is usually where you program certain exercises for a limited period of time, and then you would switch up that program. So I like to do 8 to 12 week training blocks where I'll design a program using a specific set of exercises, amount of sets, amount of repetitions, or a range of repetitions that I'm targeting, and then I'll do those exercises, whether it's an upper body, lower body split, push-pull leg split, full body split, no matter what those days are, I'll do those exercises and not switch them out for 8 to 12 weeks. That's a block of training. So when I do, let's say I did 12 weeks of a training block utilizing a barbell back squat and a barbell bench press, in the next training block, I might switch those out for a hammer strength press machine or a leg press. And the reason I do this is for some novel stimulus, meaning I'm switching out the stimulus that the muscles are being exposed to, which will result in more rapid growth than if you just continue doing the same exercise for the muscle group for the rest of the year. So example is a dumbbell chest press to a machine chest press, where, because from the example before, we know that the dumbbell press requires so much stabilization to keep the dumbbells in position, coming down to your chest and out to here, without them either, as you're pressing, coming out too wide or falling in any direction. So I might be doing a dumbbell chest press with 90 or 100 pound dumbbells, but when I switch to the machine press, I'm doing well over 200 pounds on the machine press, which is greater than the total of 2 dumbbells, because the load is stable and all I have to do is press. So this is beneficial because not only is it a new type of stimulus that the muscles respond to, but it's more resistance. And one of the major drivers of muscle growth is tension. So your muscles feel how much tension you're placing on them and respond by growing. So by placing more tension on the muscle in the form of more weight in the machine chest press than I was using for the dumbbells, it results in more growth. Oh, and pro tip, another key utilization for machines. Let's talk about an adductor machine for leg size. Adductor, where adducting is where you have your legs open and you close them, and the muscles on the inside of your legs are contracting to pull your legs together. They result in a lot of leg size. It increases the appearance of the size of your legs significantly if you build up the adductors. But it's nearly impossible to train the adductors with free weights. It's not really practical. I mean, you could tie a dumbbell to your leg and get on your side and do some crazy adducting exercises, but that wouldn't be practical and you wouldn't be able to progress it very easily. You'd be looking absolutely ridiculous. But luckily, they have machines where there's a cable attached to a weight stack and you can just perform adduction all day long, and super convenient. So there are machines like adduction or hamstring curls. Trying to get a dumbbell in between your feet and lie on your stomach and do hamstring curls would be pretty ridiculous, and it's not really practical. Luckily, we have hamstring curl machines. So, pro tip, you want your legs to look a lot bigger? Start doing adduction exercises. All right, so neural inhibition from instability. What the hell does that mean? So your central nervous system limits the output of neural drive under situations of instability. What does that mean? That means the less stable your brain senses that your body is. If your joints feel unstable, your brain is going to limit the power output to the muscle connected to that joint so that you don't end up with an injury. It wouldn't, this is adapted evolutionary trait, because you wouldn't want your leg to put your leg down, put your foot down somewhere like a rock that's teetering, and then you drive into it and your knee comes out the wrong way because the rock underneath your foot shifts and you end up with a torn ligament. So your body, when it feels instability in a joint, it will limit its power output so that you don't snap anything, basically. So let's think about a hypothetical situation. Let's compare doing squats on a trampoline. I don't know why in the world you would do squats on a trampoline. Of course, I hope you would do some, understand that to get your best gains, the more solid the surface that you're pressing off of, the more power output you're going to have. And the more power output you're going to have, the more weight you can lift. And from, I just stated, the more tension that gets placed on the muscle, the more it grows. So your squats on a trampoline, you wouldn't have much neural drive to the legs. Your central nervous system would limit the amount of power that went to the muscles connected to the joints, so you wouldn't end up with an injury. Compare that to doing squats on like a concrete driveway. You put a lot more neural drive to the muscles, means you'd be able to create more power. And compare that to a leg press machine, where not only are your feet on a solid surface, but your back is on a solid surface. So whereas with a barbell back squat, from the previous example, we know that you would have to stabilize the weight with your core muscles, even if your feet are on a solid surface. But the difference is a leg press machine, both your feet and your back is on a solid surface. The core doesn't have to engage, so you can push a lot more weight with the leg press than you can with the squat, even standing on concrete. And you can squat a lot more standing on concrete than you can standing on a trampoline, because of the stability of the joints improves the neural drive to the muscles. So just to cover everything, I want to throw in here, what about cables? What about cable exercises? I would say, on average, cable exercises are in the middle of the spectrum of stability. So let's say that machines are the most stable your joints can be for a movement, and free weights are the least stable you can be. I think cable are somewhere in the middle. So if you think about a barbell, let's think about a row exercise. So a machine row, where you would pull something towards your chest and perform scapular retraction, where you squeeze your shoulder blades together, which is your back and your biceps. A row exercise done with the machine is you can only pull it one direction, so you create a lot of force. Now let's talk about a row with on a pulley station with maybe a wide grip bar. You would pull, and you can still move it up or down, but it doesn't have as much free range of motion as like a bent over barbell row. So I would say that pulley would be more stable than free weights, but less stable than a machine. So the point I want to drive home here is more stability results in more neural drive, which results in more weight that you move, which results in more muscle that you build. So, in conclusion, are weight machines effective for building muscle? Yes, they are effective, very effective, but I wouldn't use them all the time. So for best results, I keep a mix of exercises that require stabilization and do not require stabilization. And we'll keep in mind, especially for real world transfer of strength, meaning like functional strength, meaning you can get really good at doing a machine chest press or a leg press, but if you had to go out in the real world and pick something up off the ground, there's not going to be anything to lay your back against to do the move, to pick something up. It doesn't transfer to the real world. So the reason why we all lift weights is to look good, but also be strong. But you're going to look pretty silly if you can't pick, a bundle of bricks up off the ground and you can squat 300 pounds or you can leg press 300 pounds, but you've never had to use your core muscle like in a barbell squat to stabilize a load. So I would advise, for this reason, to get the best of both worlds, both the strength and muscle gains that comes from the machines and the functional strength and stabilization that comes from free weights, that you switch out these exercises every other block. All right, so are you interested in professionally designed program and a professionally designed meal plan, designed around your goals? Well, are you confused on a systematic and progressive program? Not sure how to balance recovery and fatigue for maximum gains? Not sure how to find your maintenance calories or get into a calculated calorie deficit to sustainably lose fat for a long period of time? Or if you don't feel like doing any of that, or you just don't have time to, you're in luck. I do all of that. So just hit me up. Links in the description. All right. So that was me answering the question, are weight machines effective for building muscle? Remember, next video is going to be lifting straps and lifting belts, how to use them for maximum strength and muscle gains. I'll be coming out with a new video every week, so please subscribe. I'm a brand new creator. I'd really appreciate you hitting like on the video. I need all the support I can get. Contact me with the description, and I'll come out with some more frequently asked questions. See you next week. I am Nathan from Life Shift Fitness. I am a licensed professor and a certified personal trainer. And I'll see you in the next one.